Hello, all of you. So, how was the weekend? What extra studies did you do yesterday? Getting up for the upcoming CA CMA exam and chapter wise exam for the CMA students. CA students will not be able to do it for you all because can understand your schedule. Okay, now here we go. Some of the students are asking the doubts whether the chapters which have been added, that is the place of supply in the payment of tax, which we are going to do, added is TCS, place of supply, accounts and records. These are the four added topics in CA Inter syllabus. CMA students are not having these topics. So no need to watch the videos right now. It will be in final and for your interest, because of course it is linked. When we talk about payment of taxes, linked is TDS and TCS. So after the exams, you can start watching that. Okay. So that was one doubt. I hope it is clear. I want to repeat those who have joined now that accounts, records, payment of taxes is of course there, but that TDS, TCS, account records, place of supply. These are the four topics which have been added in the CA syllabus. I'll be doing it at the end, and these are not for the CMA students for upcoming June exam. Of course, for the December, definitely they will add it. Okay, right. And those who have joined You Can Do It program, thank you so much for the response. And definitely, please watch day 13 over there. Every day, some exercises are there which are to be done. Small, 10 minutes. That will help you to build up the right mindset. Like whenever you are getting little, say, anxiety or thoughts that, okay, portion khatam ho gaya ya nahi, padhai hogi ya nahi, ma'am, if I study, will I remember or not? If you have doubts like that, then the best way is either to listen to music, whatever you like, or go for a walk, do some movement, do some out of the way work, help your mom in cooking, go get some groceries, vegetables, take that diverted 15 minutes break and bounce back and come back. And one of the best practices advice for all the students to perform super well in exam is pranayam. Learn simple breathing techniques, what I have been following since I am a student, that I have shared in You Can Do It program. It's there in the concept classes app, and you'll be surprised, I've kept it very reasonable so that all the students can take benefit of that. Okay, right. Now, so, and anywhere from Google also, if you want, you can search and do some Vastrika, some Anapan Pranayam. That will help you to focus, and you will observe a different kind of shift in your mindset, that you're studying so fast and you're remembering also. Okay, right. Anyone is having any doubt in documentation, what we have done in the last two classes? Tax invoice receipt, bill of supply, consolidated tax invoice, e-way bill. All is clear to all of you? Right. Then let us begin with the topic payment of taxes. Please listen carefully, not because ma'am आप तो जो पढ़ाते हैं सब important बोलते हैं, but payment of taxes 5 pages hardly, and literally I'm saying the questions asked is because now it's not for 40 marks, 60-40 नहीं है, अब GST 50 marks है, DT 50 marks है. DT 50 marks is so vast. 5 heads of income. In fact, I say set of carry forward and deductions is also as good as a head of income. है ना? Weightage wise. In GST, payment of taxes, very easy questions will be asked, but there are major amendments here. Very important amendments. And I have brought here, I'm sharing the material. Along with amendments, I have given here the question answers also to apply that. Today's class is very practical, no theory, no application, but simple GK के जैसा topic है. But look at the questions. I'm scrolling down and I'm willing to say you, just look at, I think around 10-11 questions I have given. But they are really superb. ये वाले यहाँ तक. And in that, 3 of the questions are exactly the amendments what have been added. So make sure you all are doing with me. Very focused, coming 1.5 hour, whether this is a regular course or this is a fast track batch, these topics are to be taught like this only. इसको उससे ज्यादा 4-4 दिन पढ़ने की जरूरत ही नहीं है. 4 दिन पढ़ना है तो बिजनेस हेड पढ़ो, कैपिटल गेन पढ़ो, यू विल बी मेकिंग अ सुपर बेस फॉर योर फाइनल, है ना? Okay, so what are the sections we are going to study here? Where we should start with? Payment of taxes. This is all about how do you pay GST. So when you say payment of taxes, you pay GST through different types of the ledgers, and those ledgers are covered in section 49. Okay, one is electronic cash ledger, wherein you pay everything in cash to government, wherein electronic credit ledger, where nothing you do entry in cash, whatever tax you have paid, you can avail ITC for that. Okay, so electronic cash ledger, electronic credit ledger, और तीसरा कौन सा है? इलेक्ट्रॉनिक liability ledger, that will show you what is the taxes you have to pay to government. This is how much tax to pay, this is how to pay, and this is after utilizing the credit part. Liability is 15 rupees. Okay, credit ledger says okay, you already have 3, so now you have to pay 12 by cash. Is this clear to you? GST liability, did we do value of this value wala chapter, value of supply? What is transaction value? What is the rate of GST charge? Kiya na humne? Yeah. So that is giving you ki, okay, you have to pay 15 rupees cash. Credit ledger is saying you already have 3 rupees ITC you have paid on your purchases या कहीं पे कुछ तो pay किया है आपने. Okay, now in cash, how much you have to pay? 12. But there are some rules how to use this ledger that we will study. Okay, then order of utilization of ITC for the third time. ITC के जो rules हैं, IGST and IGST we have done in chapter 1. We practice so much in chapter 6. Input tax credit के chapter में we have solved problem also, and now we are doing it in chapter 13, payment. ठीक है? Right. Section 50 is interest on delayed payment. If you make payment late to GST, 18% interest is charged. In your books, 24% is written, but that's the maximum rate you can charge. And then they have done star mark and given down. Right now, the rate is 18%. TDS and TCS, because they are linked, 51 and 52 I have given here, but I will teach separately. This is not for CMA students. Section 53 is transfer of ITC. Can you transfer the ITC also from like CGST to SGST and all? Yes. Transfer of certain amounts. If you remember 53A, we have already done in chapter 1. I want all of you to write here, refer chapter 1. That if first it is an interstate sales, okay, Hyderabad to say Nagpur, then Nagpur to Pune, both are in Maharashtra. So then it is CGST and SGST. So the central government finally will have to give 50% of tax to the Maharashtra state. GST is a destination based tax. You remember we have solved some examples on how the GST is adjusted. That's what we are going to do now. टॉपिक समझ में आया? आज क्या करेंगे? There are 3 types of ledgers which are auto created. The moment you try to go into Facebook, it will say no, your login will not work, you have to make account. As soon as you make account, the profile, few things are created, no, automatically. Same way, as soon as you register under section 31 in the GST, your 3 electronic ledgers like your bank account, which is also electronic, like your demat account, will open. What's the purpose of electronic cash ledger? To pay tax in electronic cash ledger doesn't mean you will pay cash. It has to be with various modes we will see now, but that's your payment ledger. Electronic credit ledger is Ajao, Dropbox. Whatever was output tax for you, that's input tax for me. So it's automatically dropped in my electronic credit ledger, right? So electronic cash ledger, credit ledger, and liability ledger is what is the tax I have to pay. Is it CGST, SGST? Is it tax? Is it penalty? Is it interest? क्या पे करना है आपको? Okay. So how these ledgers work, very small tidbits. It's a promise, I'm telling you. Within 45 minutes, this chapter will be over with a superb understanding that you will be able to solve all the 13 questions in class. और इसको बस इतना ही पढ़ो. मैम ये आप क्या बोल रहे हो, आप रेगुलर 40 पेजेस पढ़ाओ और फिर जिस्ट पढ़ाओ. Somewhere where amendments are there, I've given amendment in detail also and gist also, and I have solved problems also for amendment, but baki to it is not required. We know how vast we have been studying the DT and IDT. Okay, chalo. E-ledger is a unique feature under GST. They are the statements of cash and all available. They are automatically opened and displayed on the dashboard as soon as you get yourself registered. Okay? Any doubt you have, pause me, dear students, because today I don't have that opportunity. Okay, this is my answer. What is your answer? That opportunity is not there with me. Okay? Chalo. Now, electronic cash ledger. It will reflect all the deposits made in cash and TDS TCS paid on account of the taxpayer. समझ में आ रहा है? Whatever I pay in cash to the GST department, cash means online mode but direct payment of the amount. And TDS is deducted, TCS is also collected and paid in few cases. So all that will be reflected. Once a second, huh, dear students. 1 minute. Okay. What is electronic credit ledger? It will reflect all the deposits made in cash and TDS TCS made on account of the ye to ho gaya, sorry. Electronic credit ledger. It will reflect input tax credit as self-assessed in the monthly returns and credited on the provisional basis. So whatever is input tax credit, that is auto dropped here. Okay, right? And credit in this ledger can be used only for the payment of taxes. Superb. Input tax credit can be used to pay output tax credit. You cannot use to pay interest, late fees, penalty. Super for true and false MCQs. Star mark karo. Very, very important. Clear है सबको? Yes. Anyone is having any doubt, then ask, and until now, if you have been following everything, then say. All clear? चलो साथ में शुरू करते हैं. Yeah. What is electronic liability register? It will reflect the total tax liability after netting off for the particular month. Output tax minus input tax is the tax payable. So first you see how much is your ITC. Then you calculate output tax as per section 15, value of supply and all. And output minus input is the tax payable. That tax you can pay in the cash ledger. Are the terms clear? Which one is going to be used where? Huh? Chalo. So let us go to one by one all the ledgers. Okay. And let us see the features also. Every deposit made towards tax, interest, etc. by internet banking, by use of debit, credit card, NEFT, real-time gross time settlement is RTGS, UPI, IMPS is that phone transfers and all, shall be credited to cash ledger of such person. Two have been recently added, UPI and IMPS. Actually, it's an amendment. I've added and made it in sync only. देखो मैं क्या पढ़ा रही हूँ वो देखो. Yes. all the taxes what you have to pay through cash ledger, by what mode you can pay. So you can pay through credit or debit card. You can pay through NIFT, online transfer we call it, RTGS, online real-time settlement, UPI modes, all that, GPay and Paytm and all. IMPS, what is IMPS? Phone transfer. So these all shall be credited in electronic credit ledger. What is electronic credit ledger? ITCS self-assessed in return of registered person shall be credited in accordance with section 41. We cannot make an entry, dear students, in the ITC. It's going to be auto dropped. Okay, right? Next, utilization of the amount in cash ledger. The amount available in the electronic cash ledger may be used for making any payment of tax towards interest, tax, penalty or any other amount, and thereunder in such manner. Okay, you can use the utilization of credit ledger. Amount available in credit ledger can be used only for payment of the tax. यहाँ पे खास लिखो, not for, लिखने से याद हो जाता है, interest, penalty, fee. Okay. Cash ledger say you can pay all the type of taxes. Credit ledger, you can use it only for payment of taxes. Manner of utilization. I think this is a third time repetition. Still, for getting that bubbling confidence, write down, refer chapter 1 and refer the chapter for ITC. It's 6th or 7th chapter. I think ITC 7th chapter. Huh? And do we know it all? All of you know it very well. IGST can be set off first in IGST, then CGST, then SGST. CGST can be set off in CGST and IGST. SGST can be set off in SGST and IGST. UTGST can be set off in UTGST and then IGST. Only CGST and SGST cannot be mutually set off. Yes. Finally, after paying all the liability, if there is excess balance in your cash ledger, you can get refund as per section 54, which you will study in final. Abhi nahi hai. जैसे I'll tell you the one which is in SEZ. हाँ, तो SEZ के अंदर they claim ITC, but whatever is exported out of SEZ, on that there is no output GST. So where they will set off? They will get a refund. Okay. Electronic liability register will show all the liabilities. Order of discharge. This looks as a, I'm teaching exactly with the trend and weightage of past 6 exams papers. ये topic ही वैसे हैं. Registration, documents, this. Clear? Right. So what is the order of discharge? Order of discharge means, ये theory question कैसे पूछते हैं? I'll tell you one example. Every taxable person shall discharge his tax and other due under this act or rules made thereunder. Self-assessed tax and other dues for the previous period. Suppose I am filing the return for September in October, but there was some due in July. So whatever I pay for September in October, that they will adjust for July. And then balance they will adjust again September. समझ में आ रहा है? जुलाई का ड्यू बाकी है 2 rupees. Due. September, it is 30 minus 27, 3 rupees. So in October, I paid 3 rupees. September का ड्यू. ओ मैम पुराना बाद में देखेंगे, अभी का तो ये तो ले लो आप. Are you getting what I'm saying? We'll see all that later. Right now, you just accept, no ma'am, 30 minus 27, output tax minus input tax, 3 rupees is payable. Clear to all of you? 3 rupees is payable. In the October, 3 rupees is payable. So when I pay 3 rupees, they will adjust 2 rupees due and then 1 rupee. समझ में आ रहा है सबको? October, May, when I pay 3 rupees, they will first adjust 2 rupees of old. That's what. Earlier dues will be adjusted. Then in current 3 hai to fir 1 hi. So on 2, they will be charging interest because I have not paid. And then any other amount which is demanded in 7374. 7374 I made you write in one of the earlier registration chapter. It is when the tax is evaded and all. Okay. Right. All clear until now? Thank you. Thank you for the response. Chalo. Incidence of the tax deemed to have been passed. Every person who has paid the tax on goods or services or both under Act shall, unless the contrary is proved, be deemed to have passed on full incidence of the tax to the recipient of the goods or services. Okay. When I pay output minus input tax is tax payable, automatically my output is your input. So it is deemed that tax is being paid by the supplier. Okay. A registered person may on common portal transfer any amount of tax in electronic cash ledger to the electronic cash ledger in such other form and manner. Yeah, this I'll do ahead also. There are major heads and minor heads. So all kitch is allowed. You know what is kitch? I have in input tax credit, I have IGST because I am importing my raw material from Jammu and Kashmir. In output, I'm having SGST and CGST. So can we set off electronic tax credit ledger of IGST in the payment ledger, in the cash payment ledger of CGST and SGST? Yes. All cross transfers are allowed. Except electronic credit ledger can be used only to pay output tax. Is this clear? Very important point for MCQs also and for question and answers also. चलो आगे करते हैं. Deemed to be deposited ये मैंने कर लिया. Where any amount has been transferred, the same shall be deemed to be deposited. Yeah. Now, whenever we pay the tax by check, what will be the date taken? You know, because like by 20th of next month, you have to file your GSTR3, we pay the tax. So which date you will take? Mark this point, very important for MCQ. Date of credit in account of government in the authorized bank shall be deemed to be the date of deposit. Which date is considered as the date of deposit? Date of presentation of the check? No. Date of payment? No. Date of credit of amount in the government account. Suppose I presented the check on 10th of April, but the check got cleared and government got payment on 12th of April. So which payment they will consider? 12th of April. Are you all with me? Zoom में जो है वो Zoom में, live में जो है वो live में comment on the chat box. समझ में आ रहा है? Not my check date will be the date of payment, 10th of April. When the check is cleared, 12th of April. That's the date. Okay. Taxes means the tax payable and does not include interest, and all the other dues means interest, penalty and fees. Tax means purely CGST, SGST, IGST check. ये सब definitions हैं. ठीक है, चलो. Now let us begin with the rules. ये पूरा हो गया आपका section 49. खत्म हो गया. Chapter 50% is over. Ma'am, is it? This is the way to study? Answer is yes. चलो. Now little in depth about all the three ledgers one by one, starting with cash ledger. पहले cash ledger से शुरू करते. Electronic cash ledger under 49(1) shall be maintained in form GSTM PMT 05, liable to pay tax, interest, penalty, late fees or any other amount. Okay. And whenever you make payment, you generate a challan. That challan is valid for 15 days. Payment challan validity is 15 days for MCQ. Literally, I'm telling you what best they can ask. Check ka date kaun sa lenge? MCQ. This is a theory question, order adjusted. And now the third one is again for MCQ. How many of you are connected with me from day one of the GST classes? Have you observed then those GST classes which we have done from day one? Somewhere I have gone very slow to build up the base. what is supply, what is ITC, now not required. Chalo. Modes of deposit of amount in electronic cash ledger. The deposit shall be made through online modes. What are the online modes? RTGS, NEFT, online transfer, added now is UPI, phone transfer, all. Over the counter payment through authorized banks, banks which are authorized to accept the GST payment, not all the banks, private banks, it's the authorized schedule bank. Then you can deposit up to 10,000 per challan per tax period by cash, check, or demand draft. Is this clear to all of you? Up to 10,000 you can deposit by cash, check, or DD. Rest all the payments you have to make online, NIFT, RTGS and all. ठीक है? So cash में कितना payment accept है? Over the counter you can go and pay up to 10,000 per challan per tax period. बस खत्म. Cash, check, DD से. हाँ, there are exceptions to rule wherein above 10,000 also you can pay over the counter cash, check or DD say. What are those cases? Government department or any other deposit to be made by a person as may be notified by commission. When you have to pay a lump sum huge amount to the commissioner. Proper officer or any other officers to recover outstanding due from any person, whether registered, including recovery made through attachment or sale of the property. So many times when you are not paying GST, then government has got right in income tax also, in GST also, to seize your property, sell it off, bidding करेंगे उसका, and recover their taxes. That time can you say हाँ ठीक है अभी 10,000 तक तो आप भर दो बैंक में, बाकी ऑनलाइन करते रहना आराम से ट्रांसफर? No, with lot of difficulty they have come till this point of getting the money. So whenever government dues are there, or whenever an SSC is troubling and not paying, and we have sold the property and got the money, the whole amount can be paid over the counter by cash, check or DD. Third, where proper officer or any other officer authorized for amounts collected by cash, check or DD during any investigation or enforcement or ad hoc deposit. So investigation में, sale और attachment में, या फिर government department ने कोई demand किया है. So in these cases, over the counter payment, full amount can be paid. Otherwise, the restriction is 10,000. So here we finish one aspect. Let us take a pause now and recollect, did you all follow or not? It's a very simple and scoring topic, but trust me, ma'am, ये topic छोटा है, मैं खुद से कर लूंगी. You will take double the time. With me, you are giving proper weightage. Okay, this is a 1 mark question. This can come theory, order wala. And we will also finish maximum by 1.5 hours. For sure. बोलो, कुछ doubt? All clear? चलो. Can we make a gist of अभी तक क्या पढ़ा? What is electronic cash ledger? Pay the taxes. What is electronic credit ledger? How much input tax credit you can set off? What is liability ledger? What is the liability to be paid? Total. And then adjust the ITC and pay in cash. ठीक है? Now here, when we are adjusting all this, very important is what are the modes of payment. Two modes are added in the RTGS, NIFT, online payment and all, and they are UPS and IMPS. Okay, so UPI, sorry, and IMPS. These are the modes added. GPay. Now, if you are making government payment or there is an emergency investigation and going on, then over the counter generally the limit is 10,000 per चालान per period. उससे ज्यादा आप कैश या चेक या डीडी से नहीं पे कर सकते. You have to online transfer. But in these three cases it is still allowed. Okay, right. So फिर से भी हमने एक बार कर लिया. I hope clear है. अब चलो. Now, little bit very small procedure, which I'll say rather than skipping, just have a glance at. Huh? What is CPIN? Common Portal Identification Number. It is created for every challan successfully generated. See, you will have to generate a challan at the portal, and it's a 14-digit number, CPIN, Common Portal Identification Number. As soon as you generate the challan, you get CPIN. When you take that challan and you make the payment through your bank, RTGS and all, you will get SIN number. What is SIN number? Challan identification number, which is 17 digit. 14 digit is that number, CPIN, what you have generated while generating the challan. And 3 digit added is the bank code. This is just like a very common GK, can be asked in exam. Okay? Right. Clear to all of you, CIN, challan identification number. It's 17 digit, 14 digit is the CIPN bank account, and 3 digits is the bank code. BRN is bank reference number, is the transaction number given by bank for payment against the challan. EPF is electronic focal point. These are, some branches are authorized to collect and do the GST work. They will generate it for keeping a track how many GST payments are done. These two are very common but can be asked again in MCQ or 1-mark question. Manual of physical challans are not allowed to be generated. I remember when I was teaching central sales tax and VAT, sales tax pay करने के लिए we used to generate 4 challans. My copy, bank copy, department copy, and 4th copy, one more was there. Like this, 4 copies used to be generated. अब कोई जरूरत ही नहीं है. No need, you cannot generate manual or physical copy. GST challan is to be generated online with a 14-digit CPIN number. Okay. There's a single challan for all the taxes. You cannot have separate challan for the tax, separate for the interest, separate for the penalty. No. You cannot even have separate for the CGST and SGST. Everything hodgepodge is covered in one single challan, and it has to be online. तो ये थोड़े features हैं. What is the validity of challan? 15 days में. You have generated the challan, 14-digit number you got. But that challan, you have to make the payment within 15 days. And the day you make the payment, that date will not be counted. The day government is getting the payment credited, that day will be counted. Beta. ठीक है? चलो. Any registered person has to make, any unregistered person has to make payment on the basis of temporary identification number because he's not registered. Okay. Mandate form obtained after making NIFT RTGS has to be submitted in the bank. Validity is 15 days. On successful credit amount in the concerned government account, SIN number will be generated by collecting bank, which will be indicated in the challan. The deposit made one of the modes prescribed electronic cash ledger. On receipt of SIN from the collecting bank, amount is credited in the cash ledger on whose behalf. एक बार बैंक से पेमेंट चला गया और बैंक ने सिन नंबर दिया, means it's a confirmation. Bank is giving कि this much amount is already credited in your electronic cash ledger. हो गया है वहां से payment. If SIN is not generated, even after making payment and submission of mandate, after generation, it has not reflected, then recently one thing is added, that is e-scroll. अब इसको सिर्फ रीड कर लो, डिटेल जाने की जरूरत नहीं है. Where the banks fail to communicate the details of SIL to common portal, electronic cash ledger may be updated on the basis of e-scroll of RBI. In cases where the details of said e-scroll are in conformity with the details in challans generated. ठीक है. सिन नंबर के बिना कैसे काम करे? तो अगर सिन नंबर में कोई मुश्किल हो रही है, because that's through bank, but all the banks are of course connected through RBI. So there's an e-scroll of the RBI. From there, you can get the details of your payment is done or not. The date of credit with the central or state government is the date of deposit and not the date of debit in our books. The day I made entry in my books, irrelevant. The date of check I wrote on the check which I gave for GST payment, irrelevant. What is important then? Yeah, the amount when it is credited in the treasury. Is this clear to all of you? कुछ मैसेज करो कि आपको टू द पॉइंट जेन्युइन नॉलेज मिल रहा है एंड आई एम बीइंग वेरी ऑनेस्ट विथ यू दैट ओके दिस इज द वे यू हैव टू स्टडी दिस टॉपिक. अननेसेसरीली उतना टाइम ही नहीं है, बहुत टाइम लगता है डीटी का टीडीएस और डिडक्शंस और कैपिटल गेन रिवाइज करने को. सो बेटर यू डू rather than skipping 4 out of 4 marks in 40 minutes, I can say like that this topic. Promise you all have marked what I've said. 1 mark question, one liner, true and false, what are the modes of payment. Yeah, whenever I have deducted TDS for some payments or collected TCS in GST, that is also paid through electronic cash ledger. Okay, now manner of utilization. Oh, few years back, dear students, this was the most rigid part, you can say, because there are some major heads in your electronic cash ledger: IGST, CGST, SGST, and compensation cess. Cess, abhi bhi it cannot be utilized in all that. Cannot be utilized above. Likh do. So you cannot say, ma'am, we have cess ka credit. Can be used to make payment of IGST? No. But yeah, all this can be used interchangeably, except we all know the basic rule: CGST cannot be set off in SGST. Yeah, IGST in CGST, IGST in SGST, SGST in SGST, SGST in IGST, CGST in CGST, CGST in I. वो सब चलेगा. All hodgepodge is allowed. Same way, minor heads. You know what are minor heads? I have input tax credit for interest. By mistake I paid some interest या जो भी है. इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट तो खैर सॉरी सिर्फ आपका टैक्स का आएगा, बट आपको आउटपुट में यू हैव टू पे इंटरेस्ट. So you have to pay interest. Your input tax credit can be used to pay only output tax, not interest. But other than this, can you utilize, like suppose you have interest credit in SGST, 10 rupees. Now you have to pay penalty in IGST, 2 rupees. Can you use this? Interest already जमा पड़ा है SGST में. Can you use to pay penalty in IGST? Yes. हाँ, but output tax minus input tax. So input tax credit you can use only to pay output tax credit. You cannot use to pay anything else. So some of you may be confused कि मैम set of rules नहीं समझे, तो all hodgepodge is allowed. You can mix all biryani khichdi and eat it. Major heads, minor heads, all set off are allowed, but from chapter 1, and right now we are in chapter 13, repeatedly said 100 times, we have worked out input tax credit problem also beta. CGST and SGST आपस में set off नहीं होंगे. ठीक है? Right. Cross utilization is permissible. Yes. The amount available in the electronic cash ledger can be utilized for the payment of any liability, major or minor. A registered person has 1,000 under the head interest, CGST and SGST, and instead of fees, such amount can be transferred using GST for making transfer to the head fees. Yes, they had credit in interest and now they have to pay late fees. So can they utilize the interest credit in the late fees? Yes. See, interest, late fee, penalty, all this comes, dear student, in other dues. तो other dues में ये कहीं से कैसे भी set off हो जाएगा. ठीक है? Right. In this recent amendment, boldly I have given is you can do adjustments in the electronic cash ledger under CGST Act of a registered person to electronic cash ledger of CGST Act of a distinct person. You remember supply से लेकर हर चैप्टर में हम लोग कर रहे हैं distinct person मतलब head office and branch with same PAN. I want you to write example. If you are not having a printout, बेटा इसको notebook में लिखो. Notebook में लिखो distinct person heading, head office branch. You know registration is state wise but pan India basis. So head office is in Telangana, branch is in Kolkata. Now we have credit of taxes in Telangana, but we have to pay the tax in Kolkata branch. Can we set off? Yes. Transfer of balance with a registered person's e-cash ledger is allowed. Distinct person are person with two different GSTN belonging to one legal entity. Single PAN situated within two states or within same state. कभी कभी within the same state also separate registration लेते हैं. Example, registered branch in another state or same state if opted for separate GSTN. Above transfer can be made through PMT 09. However, no such transfer shall be allowed if the said registered person has any unpaid liability in the liability ledger. See, I want to set off head office में credit जमा है. I want to set off in the branch liability. Can I do so? Huh? Yes, I can. But head office का खुद का ही liability बाक है. You know how many of you have heard while we travel in plane, they say first in case of emergency put your own mask first. So here no transfer shall be allowed if registered person has any unpaid liability in his own liability ledger. I have credit. I want to set off this credit in the payment of my other distinct person, but my own liability is uncleared. तो पहले ये तो clear करो. It's very in-depth, very beautiful and recent amendment. 110% chances of asking. Don't ask me later, ma'am, इसलिए में से क्या पढ़े. मैंने आपको सबको starting से दिया है. Just 2 minutes. I don't know how many of you are writing or not. Like check date will be counted? No. The day government gets the money, that will be the date of payment of taxes. Whenever you generate a payment challan for paying GST, it's valid for how many days? 15 days. Over the counter payment, what's the limit? 10,000. Rest all the payment, RTGS, NIFT and all. So everywhere I have given the weightage. Acha ma'am, in single payment can we, challan, can we pay all the taxes and all the interest and all? Answer is yes. CGST, SGST ये वो सब पे कर सकते हैं आप. ठीक है? Right. Manner of utilization and all I have told you. Tell me, distinct person is a very recent amendment. Is it clear? So many of you are live. You can comment all clear or not clear or ask some doubts. Zoom students तो आंसर दे ही रहे हैं, आप भी दे दीजिए. चलिए साथ में फिर से एक बार. Distinct person are pan India basis, same PAN, two different registration in two states. So one state's tax can be used for making payment in another state. बिल्कुल allowed है अगर दोनों एक ही entity में हैं. Now let us go to the second type of the ledger, dear students. That's credit ledger. Okay. Electronic credit ledger. Electronic credit ledger shall be maintained for each registered person for the ITC, and they can utilize that ITC. It shall be debited to the exchange of discharge. Okay. Amount of available in ITC is used for making payment of output tax liability. It cannot be used for making payment under RCM. मेरे पास ITC में I have 50 rupees. My output tax is 20. and RCM में I have 5 rupees tax to pay. I can do input tax credit set off till 20. वो भी if my payments and all are exceeding 50 lakhs का limit तो मेरे को 1% cash में देना ही पड़ेगा. Rule 86B, those who remember. Okay. Now input tax credit is 50, out is 20. चलो पूरा भी set off कर लिया. अभी भी I have 30 input tax credit. Can I set off in the tax I'm paying as in the reverse charge mechanism? No. Reverse charge mechanism is always to be paid in cash. Such a beautiful concept. ITC, input tax credit, cannot be used to make payment of the RCM tax. Clear to all of you? The credit in this ledger can be used for making payment of only tax and not for any other mode. अब पेमेंट का ऑर्डर मैं लिटरली स्किप कर रही हूँ, हमने इतना पढ़ लिया है ये. Rules are there 86A and B. 86A is very simple formality, you can say. In case the commissioner or an officer authorized by him in this behalf not below the rank of assistant commissioner has reason to believe that ITC available in the credit ledger has been fraudulently availed or is ineligible, he may prohibit the use of ITC or for claim of any refund. Commissioner को ये power and rule 86 says stop. You cannot use this ITC because you have obtained this ITC by way of fake purchases. Stock ही नहीं आया, available नहीं है, e-invoice नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है. So they can stop. 86B we have already done an input tax credit, but payment may be uska reference and it's really logically good. A new rule has been inserted to restrict amount available in the electronic cash ledger which a registered person can use to discharge his output tax 98%. 99. Sorry, याद है आपको? 1% of output tax you have to pay. As I said, my input tax credit is 50 rupees. My output tax is 30. So I can set off full and still I have 20 to be carried forward. No. 30 lakhs. Let us say these are in lakhs. 30 lakhs ka 1%. 30 lakhs का 1%. 30,000 cash में पे करना होगा. Write down, this is a 2 marks question, you can say. 86B. Ma'am, you have already taught it. Yes, we have done in chapter 7 input tax credit that you can take the benefit of whole input tax credit except 1%. But to whom that is applicable? Where value of the taxable supply other than exempted and zero rated supply in a month exceeds 50 lakhs. Where your turnover exceeds 50 lakhs, then whatever input tax credit you are doing set off an output tax, at least 1% of output tax you have to pay in cash. Okay? देखो कोई डाउट है तो बोलो. Simple topic it is. 1.5 hours is more than enough, I am saying. इसको जिसमें से ही पढ़ना है तो भी थोड़ा टाइम लगेगा because we have some beautiful 2 amendments. One amendment I have already covered, distinct person. हाँ कि distinct person जो हैं they can also set off. Okay, what is rule 86A? Commissioner has got a power to stop the utilization of ITC if they feel ITC has been availed by wrong means. And 86B says any of your earlier taxable supply, excluding exempted and zero rated, if that is more than 50 lakhs, yes, then of course you can take a credit maximum up to 99% of your tax liability. Example I have given, input tax credit 50 lakhs, output tax is 30 lakhs. Still 30 lakhs का 1% tax में pay करना होगा. So how much ITC you have utilized? 29 lakhs 70,000 ITC used. Have you all written this example बेटा? अच्छे से लिखा इसको. मैसेज मी एग्जाम के बाद नहीं, एग्जाम के बाद नेक्स्ट एग्जाम के लिए पढ़ना. मेरे से नहीं, कोई भी टीचर से पेपर डिस्कस नहीं करना. But after the exams, if you really feel, ma'am, the way you gave example, same case. Distinct person is also very important amendment. Exactly with the weightage of exam pattern and amendments, I am teaching this topic. ज्ञान की जरूरत ही नहीं है ये टॉपिक में, क्योंकि ये सब सिस्टम में तो ऑटोमेटिक होता है. What are the common points in cash ledger and credit ledger? Refund of ITC to be debited in the ledger. See, ITC claimed is credited, but sub set off करके still if there is ITC, you can debit and get a refund. Rejection of the refund. If refund is rejected, again you can get a credit in the ITC. ये important है logically. No entry shall be made directly in the electronic credit ledger. Why, ma'am? For you, as soon as you write output tax in GSTR1, it's auto-populated for me in input tax credit in GSTR2B. And when I file my return GSTR3B, my output and input is automatic set off. So we are not allowed to make any payment in the electronic cash credit ledger. कोई direct entry नहीं होगी. A registered person shall, upon noticing any discrepancies in his electronic credit ledger, communicate the same to the officer exercising jurisdiction through common portal. For each entry in e-cash or e-credit ledger, UIN will be generated. Unique number will be generated for the set-offs and all. And now the third and the last ledger. How many ledgers are over? Electronic cash ledger हो गया. Electronic cash ledger की क्या खासियत है? Only up to 10,000 you can pay over the counter, cash, bank or DD. Rest all you have to make online payment. What are the two online modes added? IMPS and UPI, right? Next is what? Electronic credit ledger. Electronic credit ledger में hi-fi freedom now is given is you can set off electronic credit ledger of Delhi for making electronic liability payment of Chennai if these are the distinct person head office branches of the same PAN. Now, electronic liability register, which will show you how much tax you are liable to pay. Electronic liability register under section 49(7) shall be maintained for each person liable to pay interest, tax and all other. Chronological order in which liability of tax is payable is self-assessed and tax dues for earlier period. I already gave you example on the first page. Then for the current period. And then your penalties and all 7370. Electronic liability register of the person shall be debited by amount payable towards tax, interest and all. Amount of tax, interest, penalty by proper officer. Amount of tax and interest payable from time to time. So electronic liability register will be debited first. Then it will be credited and electronic credit ledger will be debited for the payment. समझ में आ रहा है आपको? Right. I'll show you a diagram के साथ. पहले आप पढ़ लो. Liability to be paid by debiting electronic cash credit ledger. Okay. So every liability as per his return shall be paid by debiting electronic cash ledger 86B और उसको ध्यान में रखते हुए. Amount deducted under section 51 or amount collected 52 or amount payable on RCM under section 10 and any amount towards interest fee shall be paid by debiting electronic cash ledger only. You cannot adjust. यहाँ पे लिखो. Cannot adjust in ITC. ITC के against you cannot adjust TDS payable 51. TCS collected 52, RCM wala tax or interest and penalty. I want all of you to write here. Can't adjust in ITC all these payments. मैम तो फिर ITC कहाँ adjust होगा? Output tax minus input tax. Input tax credit can be utilized only out of the output tax credit. ठीक है? Right. Just 2 minutes break here, 2 to 3 minutes. You come back fast. And as I told you, there are very important amendment here only. हाँ? और वो amendment का भी मैंने यहाँ gist बना के लिख दिया है. And then when we solve the problem, it will be very, very clear. So going towards the amendment in the interest, just 2 to 3 minutes. Please. Okay. Are you all also back? Did you revise what is already done? One second, dear students. Okay. What until now we have done, just because बार recollect करने से, see, this topic is, first you understand, then I'll make you write the booster notes, then we will apply and solve the problem. Three-way is not required. This is learn it with me. So we have seen what is electronic cash ledger, where you can make payment to government for the GST. First, utilize your electronic credit ledger. But credit ledger can be used only to pay taxes. You cannot use the electronic credit ledger, that is ITC, availed to pay all the other, that is penalty, interest and all. Even you cannot use it to pay the RCM. Reverse charge mechanism cash also you have to pay. And now electronic liability ledger we have seen. That shows how much is your actual liability. Last part of this topic, but very important amendment. So concept, then gist, and then question answer. It says that whenever you pay late payment of GST, you have to pay interest. At what rate? 18% per annum. In your books, the act language is given ki interest rate cannot exceed, as per section 50, not more than 24%. That's the maximum rate. But how much interest you are charging now? 18%. From when to when? Whenever you are liable to pay the tax, that is next day of the due date till the actual date of payment, 18% interest is charged. Is this clear to you? Now here, there's a logical but very beautiful amendment that on what payment interest should be charged. There are two options to it: when you file your return on time and when you file your return late. And there's logic also. So that's what I'm discussing with all of you now. Amendment करेंगे. Interest on delayed payment, it is to be charged at the rate of 18%, and it should be calculated from the day succeeding the day on which tax was due to be paid till actual date of payment. Interest on ITC wrongly availed and utilized. Where the ITC has been wrongly availed and utilized, the registered person shall pay interest on such ITC wrongly availed at such rate not exceeding 18%, and the interest shall be calculated in the manner. Okay, so we will see that if ITC is wrongly availed, then how you are paying the GST. Tax means tax payable under the Act rules. Payment of interest in case of belated payment of tax is voluntary, not on demand. They are using the word voluntary. It is auto-calculated. If you are supposed to pay the tax on 20th of September and you are paying on 23rd, it will automatically add the interest and tell you. Interest payable under this section shall be debited in the liability register. You can write here, can't be debited in ITC. इलेक्ट्रॉनिक क्रेडिट लेजर में तो आप यूज ही नहीं कर सकते, तो आप उसको कहाँ डेबिट करोगे? लाइबिलिटी लेजर. Liability for interest can be adjusted with balance in the cash ledger, but not in the credit ledger. Ma'am, these same and same things are getting repeated. Goal. Interest applicable only on the cash portion of the tax payable, not on the cash adjusted through the credit ledger. Interest is payable only on the cash portion and not on the cash adjusted through the credit. अब इसका मतलब क्या है? Here there is amendment. Okay, right? See, if the lawmaker demands tax along with interest, that is tax paid through cash ledger, it may be unhealthy practice. To counter such recovery mechanism, the provisions of Section 50 provides a registered person has to pay tax through a return. Belatedly, interest shall be applicable only on the net taxes through cash ledger and not on the gross taxes paid. You're filing the return late. So output minus input, whatever is net tax, that you have been delayed. This line says your output tax is 50, your input tax credit is 30. What is electronic cash ledger mein tax payable? 20. So interest should be charged only on 20 because government has already got 30 rupees, no? I paid output, for you it was input. So indirectly government has got only 30. Now my output is 50. So only फिर से देखो language बहुत beautiful logic है, amendment है, तो ध्यान से देखो. Because 110% chances of getting questions on amendment, and payment of tax ledger is worth doing 4 pages for 5 marks. 3 mark 1 question and 2 mark 1 MCQ. इतना weightage है इसका. See, what they are saying is interest shall be payable on the net taxes 20 through cash ledger, not on the gross tax. Gross tax is 50, but ITC has already reached government, no? So how much government has got late because I filed my GSTR late? 20 rupees. So interest should be charged only on 20. हाँ, इसमें और एक option भी है. However, as per proviso, it's not provision. Proviso is exception to rule. Normally, interest should be charged on net 20. But now, exception to the rule where the tax should be charged at 50. What is that? The interest in cases where tax return has been furnished after the due date but furnished before the commencement of the proceedings under Section 73 shall be levied on that portion of output tax which is being paid by debiting cash ledger. This means that interest shall not arise on the portion of output tax which is paid using ITC available. ठीक है? Accordingly, interest, if any, payable by registered person for delay in remittance of taxes beyond the due date on account of delay in filing the return shall be demanded only on the net cash liability and not gross. ठीक है, ये एक लाइन रिपीट हो गई, यहाँ भी लिखा सेम लाइन. Okay, now see the gist. Interest is payable on tax declared and paid in GSTR 3B filed after due date. Are you filing late return? Yes. Then tax paid through credit ledger, tax paid through cash ledger, and interest applicable only on the cash portion. I had to pay 50 GST payable, 30 मैंने credit ledger में use किया, 20 तो interest किस पे लगेगा? सिर्फ 20 पे. Why? Because I have filed my GSTR 3B late. If you remember this much, you will be able to solve the questions in exam. Okay, GSTR 3B, output minus input. Are you paying late? Yes. What is your output? 50. How much set off you are doing from the ITC credit? 30. How much cash is payable? 20. ITC has already reached government. So what is the interest you have to pay on 20? Yes. If you are really liking this way of learning, like, hit, subscribe and sub करो, ताकि आपको जब भी हम ऐसे लाइव सेशंस ले रहे हैं for the top 50 questions, for the major amendments, for the best of 20 questions, you will get an update because I don't believe in recording and uploading the lectures. These are all live classes. तो एग्जाम तक सब्सक्राइब कर लो और ये लेक्चर अपने 5 से 6 फ्रेंड्स सबके साथ शेयर करना कि 2 घंटे के अंदर यू स्टडी दिस टॉपिक स्क्रैच से, कभी भी नहीं पढ़ा तो भी. Interest payable on gross liability where return is furnished after the commencement of the proceedings. Means return is furnished after the commencement of the, या तो आपने टाइम पे रिटर्न फाइल किया but taxes you have not paid properly, or you are furnishing the return after that tax evasion, chori karna, suppressing. 73-74 is suppressing of sales and suppressing of the tax, cheating. So tax paid through credit ledger, total tax is 50. Tax paid through credit ledger is 30. Tax paid through cash ledger is 20. Interest is applicable on cash and credit ledger 50, 20. हो गया. 5 marks problem is solved, dear question, students. And if it is worth it, comment below all clear. Even if you are watching as recording, then also comment below. आपको समझ में आया मैंने भी क्या बताया? See, output minus input is tax payable. If you are filing the return late, we have already got the ITC. We just want you to pay the interest only on 20. But ma'am, even if he is paying as suppressing the tax and all, still 30 rupees he has paid tax. But why did you do wrong? Here you are doing cheating. You are doing mistake. So we will not charge interest on 20. We will charge the interest on 50. Dekho. I've given very beautiful questions one by one. Let us check it. Ajay, a registered supplier, filed GSTR 3B for January in April. Did he file the return late? January का 28th February तक file करना था. He's filing the return late. So which case is covered here? First one. The prescribed due date to file the said GSTR 3B was February, and the amount paid in cash ledger made by him worked out to 36,500, and he paid in April. Briefly explain to compute interest. Interest will be paid 18% on 20th of February was due date. So 21st से लेकर actual date when it is paid 15th April. So 28th was the due date, so interest will start from 21st and 15th तक, तो 15th भी लेंगे. So 21st February से 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 20. लीप ईयर इग्नोर कर देना है अगर है तो भी. 31 and 15 कितने होते हैं देखो, कैलकुलेट करो. 49 and 54. Orally you can do the total. 54 days interest on 36,500 at the rate of 18%. I am in problem number 2. Another 15 minutes. I'll go till 12th problem. And out of this only the problems will come. इतना easy chapter नहीं है आपके syllabus में. Even supply chapter is not as easy as this. इतना easy है आज का topic. Concept, weightage, problem, all over. Take your time. January month return you have filed in April. January return you have to file by February. So February to April, when there is a delay, only what is payable in cash, not gross, utne pe hi interest charge hoga. Now, ABC Limited have filed their GSTR 3B for July within due date. Oh, time pe return file kar diye. That is 20th of August. Registered person has noticed during September that tax due have been short paid by 40,000. मतलब वही, you file the return on time, but you suppress the sales, you suppress the GST. Now department gave you a notice कि आपको 40,000 tax pay करना है, but you already had 10,000 in the credit ledger. So you said, okay, I'll pay 30,000. Examine. Now interest will be charged on only the cash part or 40,000. This time you are not filing late return. You are filing return on time, but you are doing cheating. What is happening for this SSC? they have shown the taxes short by 40,000. Now they are saying, अच्छा ठीक है हमने कम बताया था, we are ready to pay 40,000, but in 40,000 already we have 10,000 ITC. Can we set off and pay 30? Yeah, you pay 30, but interest will be paid on 40 because you filed your return on time, but you did cheating. See. Interest is payable in case of delayed payment at 18% from due date till actual date. This is the first line you have to answer. As per section 50, as per section 50 of CGST Act 2017, interest is payable at the rate of 18% from due date till actual date. As per proviso to section 51, interest is payable on the net tax liability paid only if the return to be filed for tax period has been filed after the due date to furnishing such return. In the above scenario, ABC has defaulted in making the payment 40,000 on self-assessment in July. जुलाई का डेट क्या है 20 अगस्त सो 21 अगस्त से सितंबर का रिटर्न अक्टूबर में भरे सो फॉर दीज 2 मंथ्स अगस्त के 10 डेज सितंबर के 30 अक्टूबर के 20 अगस्त 21st से 31st means 11 days so 61 days interest you are charging on 40,000 because you suppress the taxes. Had it been routine delay, we would have deducted 10,000. If ABC have filed the return of July on October beyond the stipulated date, then same interest would have been charged on 30,000. Easy, very important amendment. You want me to give you all time? आप एक बार चेक कर लोगे देखो और उसके लिए पहले वापस से जिस्ट पढ़ो. This will surely come in the exam. That's why I'm asking you not to skip. 1 minute. Please read it. I'm here only. Any doubt you have, you can ask me now. Every topic I've been saying what is important. Now you really want me to do one day all the importance again? करेंगे एक बार. पहले you comment if this is clear to you or not. This is a beautiful amendment. That okay, whenever there's a delay in payment of GST, you have to pay interest as per section 50 of the CGST Act 2017 at the rate of 18%. First sentence. Second sentence, from the due date till the actual date. So due date के next day से interest शुरू होगा and actual date तक, that date also you have to consider the interest. Okay. Now, are you filing the return late? Yes. Then whatever is ITC, let it be only on the net you pay interest. Are you filing the return on time but you have suppressed the GST value कम बताया rate गलत लिए, then you have to pay interest on the gross amount 40,000 ITC set off करके you're not allowed to pay on 30,000. Isn't this gist which I have given beautiful and then related to that problem number 2 and 3 solved now in class? So, as I said, coming 15 minutes, we will apply the knowledge of section 49, 50. There are 2 more very small sections, but not very important, so we'll do at end. अभी जल्दी से past exam के पूरे questions करते हैं. Are manual challans applicable for as allowed earlier under VAT? No. Even if you make the payment over the counter up to 10,000, GST challans are to be generated online only on the portal. Then only you will get the challan say CPIN number and then you pay through bank to get the CIN number. How many types of challans are generated for various taxes? Single. Major head, minor head का कोई importance ही नहीं है. Single challan. What happens if the taxable person files the return but does not make the payment of the tax? In such case, return is not valid. Your GSTR 3B will not go correct if you are not paying your taxes on time. So in such case, return to be not considered as valid return. This will again come in the return topic also. It defines a valid return means a return on which self-assessment tax has been paid. It is only valid return that would be used for allowing and claiming ITC and even passing on to the next person. See, I am claiming ITC of GSTR 1, my say purchases, but the supplier should file his return, no? See, this we have seen an ITC topic, abhi payment, and now tomorrow we are going to do the return topic. So there is lot of linking in these three topics, ITC, payment and returns. So please check it. If you are not following anything, ask me. Live chat is also on. At least all clear तो comment कर सकते हैं हम. हाँ? चलो. In other words, unless the supplier has paid the entire tax, we cannot claim the ITC and we cannot file our return. No. तो जरूरी है कि रिटर्न के पहले पेमेंट टाइम पे होना. How do the new payment system benefit the taxpayer? It's superb, no? Online mode of payment, output minus input is tax payable. No more queues waiting for making payment. Advantages. Insta payment. You know, through your mobile phone, you can do all this work. Tax consultant can make. Single copy, I told you earlier, when physically challans were issued, there were 4 copies. Now we have only single challan. Revenue comes earlier to the government because obviously they'll pay on time. And ITC credit if they want, still they will do. Greater transparency. Your output tax paid by your supplier, your creditor, your purchaser, wahan se you will get the credit. So all transparency. Online payment made after 8 p.m. will be credited on the same day. Okay. चलो कुछ और क्वेश्चंस करते हैं for the GST. ABC have been default in filing the return for the month of March within the time. Reason for such delay is attributable to closure of March books which have been finalized in May. GST common portal prompted for payment of late fees for a sum of 2,000. Accountant of ABC को sort your confirmation for payment of late fees through the balance available in the electronic credit ledger. One line answer is no. Electronic credit ledger can be used to pay output tax. It cannot be used to pay output late fees and penalty and interest and all. So section 49.3 provides that amount available in the electronic cash ledger may be used for making any payment towards tax, interest, penalty, fees, or any other amount payable under the provisions of this Act. Further, Section 49.4 provides that amount available in the electronic credit ledger may be used for making any payment towards output tax or under IGST Act. समझ में आ रहा है? Taxes में आप कुछ भी ले लो. Input tax credit of IGST can be used for output CGST, SGST that we have seen in the first chapter. As per combined reading, late fees shall be paid only through electronic cash ledger and not through credit ledger. Thus, the contention is correct, not correct, and above amount on common portal has to be deposited in the cash ledger. You cannot use input tax credit to pay anything other than taxes. बाकी जो सब है ना वो अदर्स में आता है, माइनर हेड अदर्स, लेट फीस पेनल्टी, तो वहां आप यूज नहीं करो. चलो next. Suhasini is a registered software consultant. On account of ill health, she could not provide any service during October. However, she had to incur all the expenses. So she paid 75,000 to various vendors. Total input tax involved is 13,500. Out of the total bills paid by her, one bill 15,000 related to security service availed for security of her office. tax on which is payable under RCM. Now, input tax in relation to this is 2,700. Suhasini is of the opinion that October, no GST is payable as she has sufficient ITC. She already has ITC of 13,500 and output tax is nil because she didn't do any business. समझ में आ रहा है? ITC is 13,500. Output tax is nil. Now she has to pay the tax under RCM 2,700. Can she utilize the tax payable under RCM against RTC? Answer is no. I told you कि RCM cash you have to pay through electronic cash ledger. है ना? Suhasini is of opinion that for month of October no GST is payable in cash as she has sufficient balance. Do you think she is right? Answer is no. Amount available in electronic credit ledger ITC may be used for making any payment towards output tax. And output tax means the tax chargeable on supply of goods by him or by his agent. Input tax credit cannot be used to pay tax liability under reverse charge. Same is always required to be paid through electronic cash ledger and not electronic. Thus, Suhasini is wrong and she will need to pay 2,700 in cash. RCM tax is to be paid in cash. You cannot use the ITC to set off that. Okay? Shine deposited rupees 35,000 under the minor head of interest column for the major head of IGST. At the time of filing GST with 3B for particular tax period, he noticed that there is no sufficient amount under the minor head towards payment of 35,000. When approached with the jurisdictional officer, Mr. Shine was guided to deposit tax under proper head of account and claim a refund. Okay. So, कोई major head, कोई minor head में they are saying कि you cannot set off और आपको तो cash pay करना पड़ेगा. Are they right? No, they can. Under section 4910 of the CGST Act, permit a registered person for transferring amount deposited under any minor head, tax interest penalty, and any of other heads and make the payment. Accordingly, Mr. Shine need not deposit the tax. One second, dear students. हाँ, पढ़ो आप लोग इसको. Accordingly, Shine need not deposit the tax amount under tax and claim refund, rather using GST PMT 09. I think this is a beautiful form. एक बार पूछा था. GST PMT 09 is used when you shift the major minor head. I have SGST credit and I want to pay CGST. तब तो नहीं होगा SGST CGST. But SGST can I use to pay IGST? Yes. Can I use interest credit to pay late fees? Yes. So like this, through GST PMT, they can be transferred CO Moto on the common portal from interest to the tax. And yes, they can set off. कहीं बाउंसर तो नहीं जा रहा ना, समझ में आ रहे हैं ना क्वेश्चंस. And if you ask me what are the important questions, then this problem number 2 and 3 and this amendment. Problem number 2 and 3 and this amendment. Next. What happens if the taxable person files the return but does not make payment of tax. Okay, then his return will not be valid. हमने ये तो कर लिया. चलो. Pranesh has deposited a sum of 5,000. This is already asked in exam for 3 mark. Under the head fee column of the cess, and 4,000 was paid utilizing under that penalty column of the IGST. Both deposits were made wrongly instead of depositing under the head fee column of SGST. Okay, so can you settle off how to rectify this? A person is allowed to make intra-head, inter-head transfer of amount as available in the electronic cash ledger. Any transfer in amount of tax, interest, penalty, fees under one head to another head is available. Therefore, in the given case, amount of 5,000 available under minor head fee and major head cess, and 4,000 available under minor head penalty of the major head IGST can be transferred to the minor head fees. I mean, say just the gist is minor, major, all the heads, the set off is allowed. कहीं भी कुछ भी आप set off कर सकते हो. Okay. So with this, we complete 3 sections of the payment of taxes. One is your electronic credit ledger, cash ledger, liability ledger, and interest. Interest is to be charged on gross amount if you have filed the return on time, but you have evaded the tax. Interest will be charged on net amount. Genuinely, you have paid the taxes late by filing the return late. So whatever ITC you have availed was set off karo on net pay interest. This rule is added, but some of the books it is appearing, some of the books they say it is covered in final. But the gist is very simple, so I'll just cover in a very simplest way. Rule 88B. It is there in the, that is 86B, हाँ, confused नहीं होना है. 86B क्या था बेटा? 1% of the output tax you have to pay in cash. That is 86B. This is 88B. In view of the power given by 53 to prescribe manner of computing interest, a new rule 88B has been inserted retrospectively, where interest is payable on ITC wrongly availed and utilized in accordance. Interest shall be calculated on amount of ITC wrongly availed and utilized for period starting from the date of utilization of wrongly availed ITC till the date of the reversal. इसका नाम है, पहले आपको ऐसे ही एक एग्जांपल बताती हूँ. 10th of June you availed ITC. ऐसे ही just random example. 1000. अब ये पड़ा है. Okay. For July, output tax 5,000. Input tax उसका खुद का ही था कुछ तो 8,000. तो 3,000 और क्रेडिट पड़ा है. Now in August, output tax is 50,000. Input tax credit 1,000 भी यूज कर लिया and 3,000 भी यूज कर लिया. So ITC wrongly availed. 1,000 ITC, when did you wrongly avail? In July. But when did you use it? In August. Or maybe इसको सीधा October ले लो. So interest will start from October. This is a very new concept, so take your time. 1 second, screen is getting stuck. मैं वापस on करती हूँ, देखो. Can you comment those who are doing live that screen is clear? It's now it is moving. It got stuck that time. What is interest wrongly availed? ITC 1,000 in July. फिर August, September चल रहा था. October, your output liability is more. Now you have to use input tax credit 1,000. So on wrongly availed ITC, interest should charge from June or October. So that's what in one line they are saying, that where interest is payable on amount of ITC wrongly availed, then it will start from the date of utilization of the wrongly availed ITC, not the day you take ITC wrongly. ITC लेके तो कुछ नहीं किया. When you utilized it, then from there the interest will start. ITC credit wrongly availed shall be construed to have been utilized when the balance in the electronic credit ledger falls below the amount of tax ITC wrongly availed. The extent of such utilization of IT shall be amount by which balance in electronic credit ledger falls the amount of ITC available. जहां पे इलेक्ट्रॉनिक क्रेडिट लेजर का बैलेंस कम है and ITC availed, you have to utilize now. From there, the interest will start. The date on which return is, date of utilization shall be taken till the date when return is filed or actual date of filing the return. Okay, right. इसके problems और नहीं है. So ITC wrongly availed, no interest is charged. Only when wrongly availed ITC is used to set off. मैंने गवर्नमेंट को बोला मेरा टैक्स 4 नहीं है, 4 में से wrongly availed ITC 3 है, मेरा टैक्स 1 है. So this 3 rupees I cheated and I didn't pay. So when I utilize that wrong ITC, from there the interest will charge. This is rule 88B. This is also covered in the ITC chapter. And last two things which are like done, यहाँ पे लिख दो, रेफर चैप्टर 1. याद है हमने चैप्टर 1 में किए थे, पहले IGST है तो सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट को टैक्स मिलेगा, देन इट इज SGST एंड CGST, तो हाफ ऑफ द टैक्स they will give to the destination based state. So that's what section 53 saying. On utilization of ITC available for the payment of tax, amount collected shall stand reduced by amount equal to the credit, and central government shall transfer an amount equal to so reduced from CGST account to the IGST. वो tax adjust होगा. Same way where an amount has been transferred from electronic credit ledger to electronic cash ledger under state act, the government shall transfer to the state tax account or union territory an amount equal to amount transferred from electronic cash ledger. ठीक है, just R for reading, nothing to do. And if you wish, you can write refer chapter 1. There I have told you. So ये चैप्टर का फिर से एक बार बेटा जिस्ट क्या याद रखना है. एक तो ये अमेंडमेंट, ये वाला, if you are filing the return late, then on net amount interest is charged. If you are filing the return on time but cheating, then on gross amount. Okay, and then distinct person also set off is allowed, major minor also set off is allowed, but input tax credit can be used only for output tax. Input tax credit cannot be used for penalty, late fees, all that. That's all for today's simple class. Take a printout to, even though you have followed, to mark what I have given. This is important for MCQ. I've also given a theory question ki whenever you pay taxes, even if you have said, okay, if this is for September, output minus input, but if something is due for July, they will adjust it first. So like this, just way, best way, we will be doing returns topic tomorrow. So stay connected. Any doubts you have, you can ask me. Solve study material के पीछे के MCQs, fill in the blanks. जो आपको करना है practice करो. Any doubt you have, stay in touch in the Telegram group and say to yourself, I take 100% responsibility of all my decisions, actions, emotions, behavior, and I have all the power within me to achieve my goals. Thank you so much. See you all tomorrow. Hope you have seen the timing, that how in the gist way and quality of the questions what we have done. Answers specifically I have written. I've never given you answers like this in value of supply, time of supply, because they were practical topic. आप भी तो solve करो. यहाँ पे I want you to see how you have to write the language. ठीक है?